Hey everybody, so how are we doing today? So one of my favorite British comedians of all time, John Cleese, racist? Xenophobic? Or just a concerned citizen who's afraid that London, England is becoming London, Pakistan? Or London, Afghanistan? In short, he says the city is literally no longer truly English. Let's take a look. British comedy icon John Cleese's claim that London is no longer an English city has unleashed a flood of reaction on Twitter as Brits latch onto another topic to fight about. The fighting Irish? What about the fighting British? Just to prove you guys would argue about anything, this is a stick. And other such brilliant memes. Oh boy, they would start a fight over there for sure. The Faulty Towers and Monty Python star dredged up previous comments he made about the UK capital losing its sense of Englishness, tweeting that the observation has since been confirmed by virtually all his friends from abroad. I note also that London was the UK city that voted most strongly to remain in the EU, the comedian added. His tweet says, "Some years ago I opened London was not really an English city anymore. I opine, as in an opinion. It's a word you don't hear much. Since then, virtually all my friends from abroad have confirmed my observation, so there must be some truth in it. I note also that London was the UK city that voted most strongly to remain in the EU. Needless to say, the controversial remarks have loosed a maelstrom of responses on social networking, with many rushing to tell the 79-year-old he is wrong. David Aronovich, a columnist with The Times, sought to give Cleese a brief history and geography lesson. London has long been a British city, John, which you might expect, what with it being the capital. However, numerous people supported Cleese's views. The texture and fabric of life in London is not quintessentially English, and many ethnic English outside of London all say the same thing. Author Thomas Clements responded. In short, this guy apparently thought Cleese was being literal. He's speaking in figurative terms. You do not speak figurative to a literalist. They are literally two completely different languages, with no way to translate from one to the other, practically. Some noted that Cleese's observations were a clear-cut case of confirmation bias, while others noted that comedian's comments were supported by the facts on the ground. A tweet from James Felton said, "Some years ago I said something a bit ignorant and dog-whistly. I hang out with people who are also a bit ignorant and dog-whistly, so I must be correct. Whilst I'm at it, here's another example of confirmation bias for you." Sort of making it look like that was the framework of John Cleese's tweet. Paul Joseph Watson, who I can't stand as a human being because he's made of pure retardation, says over 41% of London's population is foreign-born. London also has the second highest foreign-born population of any city in the world. London is clearly the least English city in England. Cleese is merely stating a reality anyone who lives in London understands. Several commenters chimed in to say that London's multiculturalism is a natural product of Britain's colonial past, while many more were happy just to crack jokes. Such a surprise that centuries of British colonialism would result in a multicultural city in the mother country. Cleese has been, there's a word. Vociferous. Okay, guys, education time. What's this mean? Vehement or clamorous, especially of a person or speech.
Vociferous.
Oh, vociferous. Alrighty. There you go. Cleese has been vociferous in his support for Brexit, explaining why he voted leave. He said, "I don't want to be ruled by Brussels bureaucrats who want to create a superstate." I regularly preach on the evils of globalism. When I was growing up as a kid, all my favorite sci-fi shows and animes, like Star Trek and Gundam Wing, made globalism look pretty damn good. But what sounds good on paper and looks good on television turns out to be horrible in practice. Globalism demonizes nationalism and therefore national identity and a sense of culture is sacrificed on the altar of globalism, similar to how the individual is sacrificed upon the altar of collectivism. It's a similar sort of evil. You open up those borders, let everyone in, you make no effort to assimilate them into the culture, and what do you think is going to fucking happen with your precious multiculturalism? You think they're just going to stay mutually exclusive and not affect one another? Of course not. That's ridiculous. You let in all those immigrants, and they refuse to assimilate, their language, their culture is going to become part of day-to-day life. And it's going to affect the culture irrevocably. British is an identity. Mass immigration is killing that identity, both metaphorically and literally. John Cleese just had the courage to say something about it. And a bunch of collectivist, globalist idiots decided to interpret his words as pure evil. And there you go. Anyway, still love John Cleese.